I'm Patrick Gavin, Politico. It is now time to turn the table with the weekend show host, as we do every Friday. This week's topics: the Sochi Olympics, the future of immigration reform, and what to make of a new CBO report on Obamacare. Joining us to talk about that and more, CNN's Candy Crowley, CBS News' Nancy Cordes, and Bloomberg's Al Hunt. Nancy, let's go to the big international news this week. Obviously, the Sochi Olympics taking place right now. What are we learning about Putin's Russia and U.S.-Russian relationships, if anything at all, from what we've seen and what we're seeing coming out of that big event?
Well, as far as the president's concerned, what he just said in that interview with Bob Costas about the Olympics is that he actually has a pretty good relationship with Putin, better than it may seem to those of us who try to read all the signals, all the body language. He says, some of what Putin says and does, he thinks is just atmospherics for the folks back in Russia, and that actually he thinks that when they work together, when they talk together, they actually get along pretty well. But on Capitol Hill, there's obviously a lot of concern about some of the warnings about Sochi. I think that the various leaders of the intelligence committees feel that some of these threats are credible, and you have a lot of tension over whether Americans should or should not be in Sochi.
Back here at home, Al, obviously a big push is happening on Capitol Hill and in the White House for immigration reform. And depending on the day, we hear different sort of reports on how optimistic people are about something happening or pessimistic about things happening. Let's focus on John Boehner. Where does he stand right now with regards to immigration reform, and where does he stand with regards to getting his party to back something that has an actual chance of actually becoming a law?
It's very limited, Patrick, and this is one I think is going to really hurt the Republicans, not the Democrats, because their argument is let's not do anything now because it'll divide our caucus and it'll distract attention from some issues that help us, like the Affordable Health Care Act, and we'll have a lot more Republicans in Congress next year. Yeah, we've been saying that about immigration now for 10 years. I think this is a party that has tremendous problems, not just with Latinos, but also with Asian Americans, and I think this is just going to compound those problems.
To a piece of legislation that did pass, obviously, Obamacare, and a new report out this week from the CBO is being used by both Republicans and Democrats to spin how good of a piece of legislation Obamacare actually is. Let's take the White House's perspective. They've obviously had a slow, sometimes very quick and loud drip of some bad news since the unveiling of Obamacare.gov, or sorry, healthcare.gov. Are they viewing this as bad news? Are they going to be able to spin this to actually say, in fact, that this is one reason why Obamacare is a good piece of legislation? What are the politics of that CBO report?
One of the things the CBO concluded was that there would be fewer hours worked over time, and the Republicans added it all up and came up with millions of people that are going to be jobless as a result of Obamacare, their talking point. The White House took it and said, listen, what this means is that people will have more time because they're not worried about health care. They're not staying in jobs they don't want to stay in. They may want to go off and do something on their own or be an entrepreneur. And this means that they will have the safety net of Obamacare to go and do just that. So, as my father used to say, you pays your money and you takes your choice. I mean, I think that this was largely I think the problem with the White House was that there is this gigantic report, and the Republicans got the beat on them, sort of in terms of being able to kind of shape it.